If you play defense, you're most likely going to lose. You have to play offense. It's going to be very, very hard to compete against companies that are playing to win. So my question to you as a leader of a company, are you playing to win or are you playing not to lose? Best defense is the attack. We talk about stages and how you have to go from stage to stage, and then the valleys of death and the complication to going from one stage to the other, and then all the building blocks you need on each of the stages, on tools and the rest. But now we need to build a model for you to be able to be a better leader and be able to lead that company and eliminate the chaos or reduce the chaos or the drama, as we say in our logo. So we believe you need to build tools for three areas. You need to build tools for you to be a better leader, in better control, and have less drama in your personal life. Because if you have a lot of drama in your personal life, you're going to bring that drama to your company. Then tools for your team to lead your team, and then tools for your company. We believe that any CEO system or any model of leadership needs to include these three areas. And I'm going to go into each of the areas and give you some tools and ideas on how to start building this CEO system or this leadership system. In you, we believe there's really four things you have to focus on. First is mindset. Remember, you have to elevate your mind and your tools to be able to take your mindset and your knowledge to the next level so you could really take your team to the next level. Then your tribe. The tribe of the people around you is not just your employees or team members, are investors, advisors, mentors, consultants, coaches that really help you how to take your company to the next level. And that tribe will have to evolve the way you evolve. In high school, you have some friends that they were amazing friends for high school, and today you don't really have a lot of relationship with them because their standards, their level or something is very, very different. And now you have people around you that fit where you are today and where you want to go. So your tribe has to scale with you. Honor your freedom. We see a lot of leaders that we have a business plan, and that business plan continues to grow and grow and grow and takes over all your life. We always said you need to have a personal plan, that in scaling up, we have a one-page personal plan. And then you build a one-page business plan aligned to your personal plan. And that way you could have them aligned and move them on the same area. If you do not have a personal plan, and if you just have a business plan, the business plan end up buying, or let's say taking all the space, all the time, all the requirement, all the attention, and then your personal life begins getting smaller. And usually that brings you in a lot of drama, a lot of chaos, and you bring that drama and chaos to the company. And on the fourth one is legacy. If you're a leader of a fast-growing firm or a CEO of a fast-growing firm, we're very lucky to be where we are. If you really make analysis around the rest of the world and where you are today compared to the other 99% of the people in the world, you're doing fairly well. So we have to really build a legacy and give back and figure out how we're going to impact the world and live a little bit better world than the one we came in. So these are the four things you have to do on the personal side. And here are some things that I've used today to start building that system. First is this entrepreneurial time system built by Strategic Coach. And he says entrepreneurs really need to have three types of days. Days that he calls productivity days or focus days, where you're executing. Like today, for me, is a focus day. I'm on Zoom delivering value since 7 a.m. to probably 7 p.m. It's going to be a lot of value day. And I'm usually in front of clients all the time. Then you need to have buffer days or preparation days. Like for me, Monday, for me, is a preparation day. Mondays, for me, I'm the CEO of Growth Institute. I don't talk to clients. I just talk to my team members. And my Mondays are protected to be with my team. And we have all the sales meetings, marketing meetings, strategy meeting, everything is on Monday. So my team is prepared and aligned to execute the rest of the week. So for me, Monday is preparation day. Tuesday and Wednesday are execution days, and those are usually my days that I'm providing value to clients. Then Thursday, I call it content day, and it's a preparation day where I do this PowerPoint, record videos and things like that. And then Friday, it's a CEO day for me to think and do strategy or take some time off. This week, I'm going to take the day off, but I have it blocked like that. My assistant could not put any call on Friday without my approval. So Mondays is all meetings for Growth Institute team. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are all client-facing and delivering value meetings. Thursday, usually I try to create content and I do some catch up. And Friday, the same. It's for me just to think, do strategy, read, do PowerPoints that I really need to think about them and all that. And some catch up calls needed, but just by approval and emergency. So those are my type of 3 days. And of course, weekend is completely off. Usually I used to have Friday full of meetings and I used to catch up on the weekends. Now I leave Friday empty so I could catch up on Friday and I could really take the weekend off. And that has significantly helped me have a better quality of life on the weekends so I could spend time with my family. And then here, I try to spend 3 days away from my office. In my office, I am doing work with my team. And the other 3 days, I'm doing whatever I need to do. When I create content, I read, I do strategy, all that. I don't do it in my office. Today, we're virtual, so I'm really 5 days away from my office. But before, when I had an office, I rarely go 1 or 2 days a week. I rarely go. When I was there, I had no client calls, no nothing. I was with my team and working with my team. And then when I had all my client calls, teaching and everything, I was in my home office and doing all my work from home. Really, really powerful. They have 2 or 3 books that talk about this. Very, very powerful. I strongly recommend it. And this is how my office used to look in my office. I didn't have a desk with a computer, and I usually go meet or get into a conference room, and I work with my team at all time. And I open my laptop, and if I'm going to talk about finance, I get my head of finance in the office and we have a conversation, whatever, and then he leaves, and then operations and whatever. But when I'm in the office, I'm not in a room working with a computer and kind of be blocked. I usually, indeed, both of my offices, I didn't have keys to my office. I had to get a visitor pass. One of the offices was in WeWork, and I didn't have a membership or a license. And people said, but you're the owner. And I was like, yeah, but I don't need that. When I go, I want to get a visitor pass. So my team has a message that I'm a visitor. I'm here to help them. I'm not here to come to my office. The execution is not my responsibility. So this is how my office used to look before. And here I start building my personal plan. It's a little bit different the way Vern teaches it. Yes, someone has a question? No? Okay. So I do it a little bit different than Vern, but I help a lot of my clients do it in Vern one-page personal plan. But here's the mindset of what you need to do for a personal plan. First, build what's important for you. My spouse, my children, health, wealth, my parents, friends, accomplishments, whatever is important for me. And then I write a sentence how I want that to look in the future. I put a time frame and say, hey, I'm going to do a plan for 20 years. And indeed, when I was 35, I built a 20-year plan that ends when I'm 55. And today I'm redesigning that with my wife of how we want to live our 25 years after my 55, let's say. And it's my second half of my life, or it's really my third half. But I write everything that I care for. Then how do I want that to look in my next 20 years? And then I put a metric, a way to measure that. As an example, with my kids, what's important for me of my kids? That they're healthy and happy. I want to ask them if they're happy, and yes, they're happy, they're doing what they want, all that. They're healthy. For me, if you don't have health, you don't have anything else. So I want to make sure they're healthy and happy. And then I have a phrase that, yes, it's important for me, that they like to spend time with me. I heard the other day from the founder of Kinko's that when your kids are older and they could choose who to spend time and they want to spend time with you, even when they have other options, you've been successful. Your kids know everything about you, how you treat people, how you support them, everything. And if they still want to spend time with you, that means you did great. So for me, in my kids, that's my measure. They're healthy and happy and they want to spend time with me. And then I put how much money I want to have on the bank and how many books read and how many countries travel, everything that matters to me. And then I write a paragraph and put it together in a couple of paragraphs of what I care. I have these 2 paragraphs written. One is my business life and one is my personal and family life. And I have these 2 paragraphs of the way I like my life or I want to build my life. And I'm 3 years away from my 21st year plan. And I'm very, very, very close. I already passed many of my objectives, but I'm very, very close to the rest. And I read it every day, by the way. I read it every day. And then I plan my day. So I read, it's on the back of this page. So I read it. And then I say, okay, what do I have to do today to get closer to my plan? And that's how I plan my top 5 priorities of the day. If I have some emails and calls I need to do today, and then my KPIs, and I have my personal KPIs in this document. And then every week I clean this document. Whatever I did not accomplish, I put on my next week. And then I put all the KPIs in Excel and I track how I'm doing. And of course, routines set you free. I bring all the systems and routines from scaling up, and I bring them for my personal life. On Sunday, for me, Sunday night, I have a space for me to plan my week. And I have my personal meeting and my family meeting on Sundays to be ready for the rest of the week. So routine set you free, super, super powerful in the business, but also on the personal life. And all my routines start with my morning ritual. I always wake up at 5 a.m., 2 hours before my kids and my wife, and I dedicate 2 hours for me. Today, I'm in my summer house in New Hampshire, and I woke up at 5:30. I was in the lake, and I did a 3-mile walk around the lake, heard an audiobook, felt great, whatever, and then came back. And when I was coming back, my family was waking up. Usually, in my morning ritual, I do some exercise. I have to learn something. If I start working and just give value and give value and give value, I need to create value first for me. So I have to read something or learn something. I usually hear an audiobook or a podcast or something. I have a really good cup of coffee and some quiet time, try to meditate or breathe a little bit, and then start my day. Usually between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. is my time. And at 7 a.m., my wife and my kids wake up, and then I just focus on them and my clients. But I spend 2 hours dedicated for me every morning. And then I learn to do deliberate practice in everything I do. Whenever I have a problem or an opportunity in my life, instead of asking, what do I need to do? My question is, who do I need to learn this from? Who's the expert? So I try to look for the expert in the field, and I follow a deliberate practice of what they teach. That's why we do Growth Institute the way we do it. When I want to scale a company, the first person I think of is Vern, and I just follow what Vern teaches. And I have a deliberate practice of implement what he teaches. And that's the way I do everything in life. So whenever I have a problem opportunity in my life, the first thing I do is I try to look for the expert. Recently, I've been having a lot of knee problems. I torn my meniscus for the second time. In my right knee, I have a lot of arthritis. And today I'm becoming an expert on really understanding how to recover without operation. I operate my knee for the first time I tore a meniscus, and it didn't work. So I'm now trying to figure out with exercise and other things how to do it. And I spend a lot of hours hearing podcasts, hearing books about it to really understand how to improve my knee, because it limits a lot of my mobility. So once I figure out, I do deliberate practice. By the way, I'm doing this exercise every morning of knee stretch. And when I heard about the exercise, I was doing 5 or 10 a day. And I recently heard a podcast of this doctor that said you have to do 50 a day. I was like, what? So I'm now doing around 30. I'm not up to 50, but I'm pushing myself from the 5 or 10 that I was doing it to 30 a day. And then, of course, dashboards. You need to have dashboards for your business. You need to have dashboards for your life. I use the Apple Watch that tracks everything, and I have all my exercises and everything I do. I track how much I slept every night, all those kind of things. So I have my personal dashboard. And if you don't know your numbers, it's impossible that you improve. If you want to improve something, measure something first. So you have to measure it so you can improve it. All right, now let's go to your team. What are the 4 things you have to do with your team? First, build and lead your team. You have to bring the team and then lead them as a team. So you need tools about upgrading, how to hire them, and a lot of things that we're going to talk here. Design a memorable culture. Culture is how you want your team to execute when you're not in the room. And I want a place that will excel how they live in their life and all that. So I want to build a culture that people are excited about. We've won Great Place to Work in Mexico and in the US for the last couple of years because we put a lot of time and energy on the culture of the team. We believe it's extremely important to build a culture by design that really helps your team members excel. Boost their capabilities. It's impossible that I expect them to grow my company without growing them. I have to grow them first. At the Growth Institute, we have a philosophy. If you want to grow your company by 10x, you first have to grow your team by 10x, not in quantity, in quality and capabilities. So it's my job to always be figuring out how to grow my team. As an example, we're a learning organization. We have amazing training internally. I still give a budget to every team member of $2,000 a year to spend wherever they want in the world of whatever they want in education. I don't care if it's related to their job or not. So I had team members studying carpentry, and I still pay for it, $2,000 to every employee. And that's part of who we are. And that's part of how we help them grow. And the better they become as human beings, the more they're going to grow my company. And then, of course, align their execution. You now build a team, you have to make sure they're aligning whatever is important to execute. So a couple of tools that we use for that. So first, talking about the tribe, right? So Vern taught me this some years ago, and I continue to use it. What's that group of 10, 20, 30 relationships you want to work with? So I write the name of the person, what wisdom or what they have that I want. They have access to contacts, connections, knowledge, money, whatever they have that I want from them. And then I try to figure out how can I help them? What can I do for them? Before I ask what I want from them, I want to figure out what can I give them? How can I add to their value? If I just come and say, hey, I want you to help me do this, and I'm not going to add to their life in any way, it's going to be difficult to get them to help me. So I always try to figure out how can I support them to their objectives, their priorities, their goals, or whatever. And then what do I need from them or want from them? And I have a list of 25 that I have of relationships that I build every year. And I send them a book, invite them to lunch, all these kind of things to start building a conversation, a relationship with them that I know if I have them around my community, they're going to help me scale my companies or get to my goals. And of course, scaling is complicated because you have to scale people. And every new team members that you bring, it multiplies the complexity exponentially. So it's really, really tough to do that. Best book that I've read in the subject, Stop Grading. It's a little bit outdated the way they show their process, but it's brilliant on the psychology of the interview and the hiring process. I love the book because of the psychology. It's a Bible. It's a tough book. We also have their course that we teach with the CEO of Top Grading, and we really get into the psychology of the process of hiring. If you want to have a good team, you have to start by hiring the right team. We see a lot of teams that they have a broken hiring system, and they complain that their team is a disaster. And I was like, of course your team is a disaster. Your hiring system is a disaster. So if you want to improve your team, you first have to improve the hiring system. And we strongly recommend Top Grading. And then I have this chart that I use with my team a lot. And by the way, this chart will never be in my office, it's in my home office, and no one sees it but me. Please never tell someone, hey, you're a C or you're a B and you want to be a. No, don't use those words. I use this chart just to understand in my mind who's who and what work do I have to do as leadership with them. So let me walk you through this. So the more to the right, the more results or productivity that they produce for the company, and the higher on the chart, they have better core values or more aligned core values, and they have a stronger cultural fit with the company. If someone has high cultural fit values and produce a lot, you're an A player. The ones here are B players, and the ones in the corners are C players, except this one. So let me walk you the way I think about my team and how I play with it. If they fit here in these 3 C's, I fire them fast. We have a policy, hire slow, fire fast. So if I find someone to be here, I immediately remove them from the company. They really don't want to be here. They don't care about the company. They're here because they don't have anything better, and they're lazy or afraid of moving. So you don't want them to work for you. They don't want to work for you either. So figure out who they are and help them be happier somewhere else. And by the way, I've sent a lot of my team members to work for clients of mine, competitors of mine, or just people I know. The other day I had a problem with a team member, and I shouted to her really, really bad. I was having a really bad day, and she made something that I was very surprised how she was able to even think about that. And I just lost it. And I shouted to her like 2 or 3 minutes. It was really bad. And the next day I called her in the morning and said, hey, first, I'm sorry about or shouted to you. I should have never shouted to you. I explained why I was having a really bad day. And I not apologize. I did apologize, but I didn't explain myself. I just said, hey, I'm sorry this happened. This is why it happened. And I apologize it happened, and it should have never had happened. But let me ask you one question that I think is important. Do you want to work in my company? And she said, yesterday I took a decision. I never want to work for you again. I said, fine. Choose any client, friend, or whoever that I have access, and I'll help you get a job. And so we have a friend in Europe that has this company. Can you help me get a job? That day I called my friend and told him the story, said, she's very, very good. She's not good for this. And she admires your company, wants to work with you. And the guy said, send it to me. Let's take it to the hiring process. And she was hired by them. So I always help them be happier somewhere else. So this, not because they're C with you, they're going to be C somewhere else. Someone is always a B here, an A there, and a C somewhere else. So try to figure out what's their best environment. These Cs are usually someone that provides a lot of value to the company. They don't fit in the company culturally. They're not the right people for the long term. We all have a typical sales agent or a sales manager that produces 20 or 30% of the revenue, but you hate their format. You hate that they never come on time to the meetings. They never send reports. You hate to work with them, but you say, like, oh, no, don't touch them. Whatever they do, it's okay because they do 20, 30% of the revenue of the company. You have to identify them and do a plan to remove them in the next 6 to 12 months. I call them the cancer because when you find cancer in someone, you don't remove the cancer immediately. You do chemotherapy to debilitate the cancer, and then you remove it. So that's the way I think about the person. I have to weaken the position on the person before I remove them. And someone calls them the toxic rock star. They're a rock star in the company because they produce a lot of value, but they're very, very toxic. Figure out who's the toxic rock star, get them out 6 months or a year. These ones, I love them. Why? They are a B. They have the perfect core values, attitude, cultural fit, everything, but they're not providing value. And they have two potential problems. They are in the wrong seat or job function, or they have the wrong training to their job. And both of them are leadership problems. So they're a B, not because they want to be a B. They're a B because I've been a bad manager or leader to them. So they really challenged me to become a better leader. So when I identified them, I said, hey, I see so much potential in you, but I don't know if you're in the right seat or you don't have the right training. Let's have a conversation. And we have a conversation and figure out if I have to move them to a different position, certain training, what do I need to do? But the person has all the capabilities and the attitude to do it right. I just haven't done my leadership job correctly. So I try to identify them and then build a growth plan or a change of jobs, whatever I need to do to put them on the right position. And we'll talk a little bit about this when we talk about playing chess versus checkers. So companies said, hey, the more A players, the more I win. Yes, I wish you have a lot of A players. Reality, A players are very expensive and they move a lot. So you could not depend on just having A players. I wish you could just have A players. It's not a reality. So how do those companies win? How can I have the most B players wanting to become A players with a plan of becoming A players, with a development plan of how to become A players? So figure out who are your B players and show them where the company is going to go in the next 3 to 5 years. Where do you see their growth? Make sure they want to have that growth, and then help them build a personal development plan to become that. If you do that, you will have a lot of B players wanting to become A players or a clear path of how to become A players. And I believe that's the best way to get someone engaged. We've been doing learning and development for many, many years. And if you tell someone, hey, you have to take this course just because I want, they will hate the course. They will not be excited about the learning. You have to first show them what we need to become, who do we need to become as a team, as a company, who they have to become, why they're so important for the company. And when they see that future and they could see themselves in the future, and you said, hey, this is the tools that you need to get there, they'll be super excited about the learning. They'll be super excited to overcome that, to become that person. But that you have to do it and negotiate it one-on-one. So identify who are your B players and build them a plan or help them build a plan for them to become A players in what the company needs in the future. Really powerful tool. I use it all the time. But as I said, never show it to anyone in your company and never tell them you're an A player, a B player, a C player. No. Just say, hey, I think you're great. I think you have a lot of potential. I think I'm not using your potential the most because you're in the wrong position, or you don't have the right training, or you don't have clarity of who you have to become. And that I use it to start the conversation. 2 books that I strongly like, that I love about how to be a better leader and how to really empower my team. Both of them are must reads. Both of them we have a 1 hour with the authors at the Growth Institute. Strongly recommend you read the books, you take the course, whatever. And here's the 2 things that I've learned. First, the power of TED. They call about the drama triangle. And the drama triangle, what it says is, you have an employee that comes to you or a team member that comes to you and said, hey, there's something persecuting me. There's a problem, a situation, or a person persecuting me. And I don't have the tools or knowledge of how to overcome it. I need you to rescue me. I need you to tell me what to do. I need you to call that person and tell them not to persecute me, or you need to take care of the problem because I cannot take care of the problem. If you see the victim definition in the dictionary, is someone that does have the tools, knowledge, or the power to get out of their problem. So whenever they come to you, they're asking you for you to rescue them, and they are telling you, I am a victim because I don't have the knowledge, tools, or whatever to overcome it. So if you rescue them, they will feel great. You will take care of the problem. Now they don't have the problem, now they're happy. You told them what to do, you solved it yourself, whatever, but you took care of the problem. But you created a much bigger problem. You told them, I agree, you're a victim. You reinforce their belief that they're a victim. So you're telling me, because I agree with you that you're a victim, I have to rescue you. And that person, next time they have a problem, their first reaction is, I need you to rescue me. And if you rescue them and rescue them and rescue them, they think they cannot take care of anything themselves, and they have to come back to you all the time. So every time you solve a problem for them or tell them what to do, you are telling them, I agree, because you're a victim, I have to solve it for you. So how do you fix this? You turn around and you said, hey, I trust you. This is part of your development. This is part of your growth. This is part of who you have to become or what you have to learn. So I hire you in this position because I trust you. I know you could do this. But hey, you're not alone. I'm here to coach you. I'm going to coach you. I'm going to guide you. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. But you're going to do it. It's your development. It's your responsibility to take care of it. And by the way, it's not a problem. It's a challenge. A problem is something that I don't want to fix or I cannot fix. A challenge is something that I'm excited to overcome. If I mandate that all of you run a marathon after this call, some of you are going to take it as a challenge and be super excited to go and run a marathon. Most of you are going to say, oh, it's impossible. I don't have the time, my body, or whatever. And we're going to be having a problem, right? And we have a limited mindset that we could run a marathon. So it's really, really important that you understand where they are, what are the limiting beliefs or their physical limits, and why they're seeing as a problem, not a challenge. You have to help them change it, that it's a challenge. It's part of their development, that they have to overcome it. And you're going to tell them, I trust you. This is part of your growth. This is part of who you have to become. You're a creator. I'm here to coach you. That change of mindset is super powerful, because you're changing someone from a belief of stress, problem, anxiety, victim, to a creator, passion-based, outcome focus that they really enjoy, and they're going to make an effort to overcome it themselves. Super, super powerful leadership tool. And here's what I tell people. You have to play more chess and less checkers. When I play checkers, I check my board and all my pieces are exactly the same. And I see my team member like that. They're all exactly the same. And I am the one that has the power, and I move them around. And they're all the same to me. I just move them around. I have the control. This is a leadership on stage 1 and 2. You tell them what to do. You move them around. You don't even explain why it's important. You say, do this because I tell you to do this. And that's playing checkers. Now you have to play chess. And what is to play chess? You look at your board and you see their differences. Wow. My team members have unique things. They have some strengths and they have some weaknesses. How can I position them to use their strength the most? And how can I cover the weaknesses or support them with other team members? And that's when you use DISC and all these other tools to understand the complexity or who your team is and how to compensate them and put them together to work as a team. You have to hire your team. People are different to you. People have different strengths and weaknesses to you. And that's when you become a team. So you have to see your team, understand strengths and weaknesses, and understand the composition of your team. And then say, okay, how can I position this team member to really be very, very powerful and use their strength the most? and how can I cover or support their weaknesses for them to do it? And then you're going to help them be in a place that they're going to be more powerful, provide more, feel better, and the rest. If you ever take a chess class, they always tell you have to get 2 or 3 pieces positioned very strategically on the board, and you won. If you put a queen that it's in the middle of the board and you have it completely protected, then the other player could just play on one half of the board. The other half is off limits. If you position 2 or 3 of your team members that powerful, then it will allow everything to flow faster. So play chess, not checkers. See your team's strengths and weaknesses, really understand who they are, and put them in the right group or structure. One of the best books I've read, Marcus Buckingham, and he has a lot of things about how to work better with your team. But he said, hey, what do I need to do to motivate my team? And he always said, stop demotivating them. We are super demotivators as leaders. Indeed, Liz Wiseman said it really well in this book. She said, all leaders are multipliers, that you multiply the intelligence of your team, or diminishers, and you kill the intelligence of your team. And then she has a group of people she calls accidental diminishers. Is someone that wants to be a multiplier, but by accident, by lack of knowledge, we are diminishers. So when I read the book for the first time, I was like, I'm a super entrepreneur. Of course, I'm a multiplier. And I started reading the book, and I realized I'm a super diminisher. Like all my traits that I was doing it sounded logical or common sense, and it was sending the wrong message. And I was not aware of it until I read the book, and she really helped me understand what are the diminishing things that I was doing with my team. And I realized, and by the way, I'm really happy with Liz because she gets you this term called accidental diminisher, because I didn't feel that bad with me. It was by accident. But now she shows you how to become a multiplier. Really good book. It's probably the book that has helped me the most to be a better leader. And of course, if you want to scale your company, you have to scale decision-making. You have to decentralize decision-making. And I ask leaders, hey, why you didn't delegate that or whatever? And they said, because I don't trust them. I could not trust the decision-making that they have. And I was like, if you don't trust their decision-making, then change them, remove them from the position, or give them the training that they need for them to take decisions, like you want them to take decisions. And that's all about culture, tools, and the rest. It's all about learning and development. So if you want to scale your company, you have to scale decision-making. And for you to scale decision-making with confidence, you have to scale your team. And the best way to do it as a leader is ask questions. I tell this story the other day. I was having a team member that came to me, and she said, hey, I want to be a better sales manager. So I want to be a sales manager. She was a sales agent. And I said, great, we need a sales manager. Let's have a conversation. We got into a meeting, and I said, great, I'm super excited you want to be a sales manager. We really need the position, blah, blah. Let me ask you, what are the 3 most important things a sales manager does? And she was completely quiet. What are the 3 most important KPIs I'm going to measure you as a sales manager? Quiet. What's the last book you read about sales management? Quiet. And I said, what does Jack Daly says in our course about sales management? She said, I don't know, I've never taken that class. And I was like, why don't you go next time, think about what you want, prepare, and then come back and ask for a job. She resigned 2 weeks after. She was not willing to do the work to be a sales manager. But everyone wants to be a manager. They want to be a leader. So I always send them to do some work to really figure out who they are and if they really have what they need to be a manager. Indeed, at Growth Institute, we're launching in a couple of months a leadership fundamentals program. So if someone says, I want to be a manager, say, okay, go and get certified. It's going to be a very inexpensive certification to make sure they're certified, at least understand what it's to be a manager when they could come with you. But just ask the right questions instead and get them to understand what it's important, how you're going to measure them. And the good ones will come with a plan. The bad ones will eject your company. They will resign on their own. So with time, you have to lower the amount of answers you give them, and you have to elevate the amount of questions. And the more questions you add, the more value you are creating for your team. So you have to ask better questions. So how do you ask better questions? What's the level of questions that you could ask? And imagine you have a team member that comes to you and said, hey, I want a loan because I want to buy a car. Oh, great, you want to buy a car. Let me ask you some questions. Do you know what kind of car you want to buy? That's a closed question. They know or they don't know. Yes or no? Yes, I know. Great. What kind of cars have you considered? Oh, I want to buy a Porsche. You don't tell them that's not for you or it's too expensive, whatever. If you tell them that, they will not be happy with you. They will think you rejected them, whatever. So, oh, interesting. What about a Toyota? If you think what they need is a Toyota, instead of telling them, no, you're dumb, don't buy a Porsche, you have to buy a Toyota. You said, hey, have you thought about a Toyota? No, I haven't thought about Toyota. I really want to buy a Porsche. Have you considered the importance of being cheap? If you're asking for a loan, it means that you don't have a lot of money. And if you have a Porsche, you're most likely going to get in trouble with the monthly payments. So have you considered the importance of being a cheaper car or a more efficient car that the cost of maintenance is cheaper or whatever? No, I really want to buy a Porsche, or I want to buy a Mercedes or whatever. If you could not buy that car, what else would you think you could buy? Or what else will make you happy? And you're helping them to discover new ideas. And people say, hey, I want to do this. Have you thought about doing that? Have you thought about, instead of doing this, you should do this or whatever? And just help them to see other things, help them to discover other avenues. And then if they just say no and they're like preset in one thing, they have to challenge it. Hey, have you ever considered that your insurance is going to be 5 times more than any other car or what you're driving today? Because a Porsche, I've heard the insurance is really, really expensive. Or the maintenance is 10 times more expensive than the car they have today. So have you considered that? What will happen if your insurance doubles next year or your maintenance goes 5 times? Will you see something different? And now you're challenging them. So ask better questions and elevate the level of your questions based on your questions. You start in a very simple, easy way, and then you have to escalate your questions making. And the more you escalate, then the more you're going to be able to guide them on the right direction and help them take the better decision. And Patrick Lencioni always said, the single greatest advantage of any company is organizational health. You need to have a team that is intelligent, but that is also healthy. Intelligent, they have the right strategy, marketing, tools, knowledge, they went to the best university, whatever. But also they're healthy. They have minimal politics, minimal confusion, high morale, high productivity, low turnover. That's how you build a team. A build of really, really high caliber people with a lot of great knowledge, with a lot of great tools, and they operate as a team, as a healthy team, and they support each other, they help each other, and all that. If you really want to build a team, you have to have both things with your team. And one of the best tools that you use to build a healthy team is the book of Patrick Lencioni, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. Really, really powerful. It says, if you don't have trust, you will be afraid of conflict or debate or even defend your ideas. If you don't defend your ideas, you have lack of commitment. I was not able to say anything. My boss just told me to do this, right? And if my boss told me, I didn't agree, so I'm not committed to get results. It's his problem. He told me what to do. And if you have lack of commitment, you will avoid accountability. And if you avoid accountability, you will give no results. So if you want your team to provide results, you have to start in trust. And that's what culture is all about. That's what being a better leader is all about. Give them that trust so you could defend your ideas. They can defend their ideas. You could have a conversation and say, hey, I think we need to do this. No, I think we need to do this. Why you think that? And you're able to have that conflict, that debate. Once we agree, now we have commitment. Now we create commitment. And that's why I like the flow of scaling up, because we first have commitment of what are the KPIs we need to accomplish as a team to be successful. And then we have the priorities that will help us accomplish those KPIs. And once you have that as a team, we all agree, those are the KPIs we need, those are the priorities. Then I looked to my team member and said, okay, Fernando, how are you going to do it? No, that's too difficult. But you just agreed that's what we need. You just agreed that's the right KPI. He was like, yes, but I cannot do that. That's too difficult. Or I cannot do that. I don't have the money or whatever. But you just agreed. So we first have to agree the priorities are KPIs that we're going to accomplish as a team to be successful. And then discuss how we're going to do that. And that helps you have that commitment because they were part of the conversation of what do we need to accomplish. And I said, hey, you said that's important. Don't tell me no. Tell me how yes. But I need more budget. Great. How much more do you need? I need to hire 3 more sales agents. Great. Let's hire 3 more sales agents. Because we agree that's what we need, right? Yeah, I agree. That's what we need to be successful. Okay. Now let's build a plan. And now you start building a plan, having clarity of what we need to do and commitment of what we need to accomplish. Really, really powerful. All right. And it will take the last 10 minutes for the company. I recommend you do 4 things. First, define a powerful and straightforward strategy. You need to have clarity. What do we need to do? Why we're here? Like the strategy of the company. And that's what you're building with your one-page plan. Then develop a predictable sales system. We believe sales solve everything. Sales give you cash flow, but it's oxygen and time to fix anything else. So make sure you have a predictable sales system that you invest $1 in ads or you bring 100 leads to a webinar, you're going to convert X amount and you're going to get X amount of revenue. So understand your sales system and build a predictable sales system. Drive exponential growth. Challenge your team to have exponential growth and grow faster. Think outside the box, all these kind of things that you have to help your team to challenge them to do something bigger and at bigger speed. And of course, boost the company value. The leader of the company, as leaders of the company, we know we have to grow a company, but we also have to be thinking about the valuation of the company. We always said, even if you don't want to sell your company, you have to continuously think about the valuation and understand what are the drivers of the valuation. By the time the company needs to be sold and whatever happens, sometimes the company has to be sold faster than what we thought. You are going to be able to capture the right value. And here, let me spend a couple of minutes. I've helped a lot of my clients sell their company, and over 80% of the sales of companies in the world is because a change of lifestyle of the CEO or founder or whoever is leading the company. You're leading the company, you think you're going to run it for 10, 20 more years, you're super excited, and then there's a change of lifestyle. Sickness in the family, death, something happened to you, to a family member, to a kid that you have, someone around you, and your perspective in life changes dramatically, and you want to get rid of your company that day. I've had a lot of CEOs call me in the middle of the night and said, this just happened, I need to sell my company now. And I was like, it's not sellable. It's going to take me 2 or 3 years to prepare it to sell. So I always tell people, your company have to run it like it's ready for selling tomorrow. In case you have a change of perspective in your life, the company has to be sellable at all times and should be ready to be sold. So prepare it and run it like you're going to sell it, even if you don't want to sell it. And a lot of us, we plan to inherit the company to our kids. Great. Inherit them a better company, more valuable company with better systems, better processes, better everything. So your kids will have a better chance of running a company and being successful with it. So always run your company like you're going to sell it, even if you don't plan to selling it. And the best tool, one-page plan. I love this tool. You can't imagine how biased I am, but it has been amazing for me. It really helped me put everyone on the same page, but first, it helped me clarify what I want with the company, what KPIs, what's important, what's strategy. It asked me the tough questions so I could really design the right strategy and be ready. And here's, for me, the basic 3 things you need to have in strategy. First, your big hat. And that's why you're here. And here I call it the North Star. Hey, that's my North Star. I'm going towards my North Star. I start executing. There's a devaluation, a crisis, a competitor, whatever, and I start deviating and going on the wrong way. I always want to be able to look up and say, you know what? I'm going in the wrong direction. I set with Will's company because of this. That's my why. I'm going to realign. So have your big hack, your MTP, or your clarity of where you want to go. And then you need to have a differentiator in the market. And that's your X factor, or what are you going to do in the market to be different. You cannot expect to go to a North Star if you don't have a rocket or rocket fuel. You first have to build that rocket, and that's your competitive advantage. That's how you differentiate from the market. And here I hear a lot of people saying, I'm going to put a lot of effort. I'm going to work many hours. And I was like, yeah, we're going to be frustrated. If you don't have anything that differentiates from the market that makes you unique, you could probably get there, but it will take a lot of strength and drama. You're going to be frustrated most of the scaling. If you want to enjoy the scaling of your company, have an amazing competitive advantage that will help you get there. So I said, if you want to get your North Star, you cannot get there running. You need to have a rocket or rocket fuel, and that's your competitive advantage. And then the third thing is brand promise. How are your clients going to get value from you? And here I'd love to do an exercise. Let me show you this. So here I have $1. And why do I have $1 in my pocket? Is because I provided value to someone, and someone said, thank you very much for the value. I'm paying you back. And I was like, $1. I want $10. You have to provide me more value. If you provide me 10 times more value, I'll be able to pay you $10. But for the value you provided to me, this is what it's worth for me. So I said, okay, great. How can I provide that value to 1 million people? Or how can I provide more value so they pay me $5 or $50 or $100, right? The only way you're going to make money is first providing value to the world. And the most value you provide to the world, the more the world's going to pay you back. And that's your brand promise. That's how you promise the value you're going to give to your clients. And the more value you provide to them, the more they're going to pay you back. And everything is based and aligned with your who. And you need to have 3 groups of people: investors or shareholders, employees, and clients. If the 3 of the who's in your company are aligned, you're going to scale really fast. If they are not aligned and you have happy employees but unhappy investors, or unhappy clients and happy employees, not going to work. You need to have happy team members, happy clients, and happy shareholders. If the 3 of them are happy, your company is going to blow up. If some of the groups are not happy, it's going to be impossible to be able to scale your company. So make sure you have your why. Make sure you have a competitive advantage. Make sure you have a clear way to tell your client what they're going to get from you, what value you're going to provide to them, and then align your 3 groups of who's to get to that. And by the way, your 3 groups of who's, here they are: employees, customers, shareholders. These are your 3 who's. That's why you have your KPIs and your 3 who's. That's what's going to tell you if your 3 who's are happy and aligned. So the BHAG or MTP, these are some ideas of BHAG or MTPs. Just have some clarity of why you're here, right? Ideas worth spreading, organize the world's information, make invention accessible. This one I love: positively impact the life of 1 billion people. Just have a clarity of why you're here. And then keep the team focused on the main thing. And it's really, really hard to keep the main thing. And that's what scaling up does. Gives you the priorities to have everyone on the same page and everyone aligned in what is the main thing. And in today's world, this great chart that I like, that we're trying to work with culture, economy, society, ethics, politics, written and built 200 years ago, like we were operating with wagons, and we're trying to manage exponential technologies. Never going to happen. We need to continuously change and evolve our culture, economy, society, processes, systems team to be able to manage today's technologies and what the world is giving us today. I believe in society, all the systems, technology, constitution, laws, everything already expired. We need to reinvent a new economic model, social model, and that's why we're having so instability in the world. Indeed, one of the best books I read recently, Peter Seihan, has a book called The End of the World is Just the Beginning. The end of today's world and today's economical system is just the beginning of the next one. But as human beings, we have to kill the one that we're living today so we could invent the next one. And that's why I love that book so much, because it tells you that we first have to destroy what we have today to build the next one. So how do you do that in your company? And this is the tool that I use the most to do that. Amazing book, Exponential Organizations by Salim Ismail and Piero Diamandis. And it tells you a model of how to challenge exponential growth in your company. I've used it a lot with clients and investors and the rest, and it works well, really, really well. By the way, it has 11 attributes that you need to do to grow exponentially. At Growth Institute, we use 7 out of those 11 internally. So we make sure we're always aligned with what we teach. That's why we use 7 today out of the 11. So here's the way you do it. And imagine you get a very old, structured, heavy organization. Take it through what we call an EXO sprint, an innovation process, and you come out with 2 or 3 more nimble, agile organizations that will move faster and will be able to scale faster. That's the way you see it. It's a process of around 12 weeks that companies go through. The book explains everything of how to do it, all the steps on how to do a sprint. You first have to prepare your team, have an awake of your team, alignment of why we're going to do what we do. And then you have a process of innovation, and you divide your teams in core stream, the team that improves the core of the business, and the team that improves the edge of the business or the ideas around your organization. And then you build these new ideas or these innovation, and then you execute them in your company. So let me show how it looks. So you bring an organization in a very structured way, very hard way. You send them through an innovation process, and now you have a better company, much more nimble, but you always have invented organizations around it. It's like Marriott inventing Airbnb, Bookings.com, and TripAdvisor. By the way, these three business models were discussed and debated in Marriott business board meeting. But Marriott said, no, that's not going to happen. We're a hotel business. We build hotels, and we need to build buildings, and we have to own them. And no, you're in the travel, you're in the leisure or the service of travel industry. And if you understand that you were in the travel and service industry, then you will build these three things, right? So it's a great to challenge your team on what kind of business are you. If you believe you're on the building business of hotels in big buildings that you have to own and rest, then you're limited in your exponential growth. If you have all of this, you're not limited on your exponential growth. So for me, scaling up is the whole of the boat, it's the vessel, and it will help you reduce drama, have everyone aligned, have a very, very aerodynamic operation that you could move nimble and fast. But then you have to build a great engine and great tools on top of it to make it move much, much faster. So that's the way I see scaling up with the rest of the tools that we teach. So last question to you. Are you playing to win, or are you playing not to lose? And we see a lot of entrepreneurs and leaders, when we're building the company, we're building to win. But once the company is a big asset and now we're afraid of losing it, we change to not to lose. And if you play defense, you're most likely going to lose. You have to play offense. If you're playing not to lose, or change that or sell the company. But it's going to be very, very hard to compete against companies that are playing to win. And strategically, it's really, really important they have this clear. So my question to you as a leader of a company, are you playing to win in your department, your company, your area, your market, or are you playing not to lose? And you're like defending, and how can we defend the market, and just being with your eyes down and just trying to defend? No. Best defense is the attack. You have to play to it.